Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dave Anderson, creator and host of BullyCon. Hope all is well. Yeah, you good? I sure as hell hope so, because I'm phenomenal. And I'm going to tell you why. Um, First things first, Papa, freaks all, no. In life, the greatest lesson I've learned is that it's okay to know a lot. It's better to know what you know. But the best thing you can do for yourself is to know what you don't know and then find the people who know it. So I'm real good at social media. I'm pretty flipping phenomenal. But when it comes to LinkedIn, I suck donkey dick. So I decided to bless you with somebody who, in fact, is a phenomenon when it comes to LinkedIn. Toronto Ross is the LinkedIn professor. She's an amazing individual. She can help you get more leads. She can help you get more speaking engagements. She can help you grow your business just by using LinkedIn, and not LinkedIn ads, not spamming a bunch of people with, "I want to share my profile with you on LinkedIn," because that's creepy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and eat my fat-free, no sugar added grapefruit. And I'll be asking questions. I suggest you ask questions too. And I am going to let the LinkedIn professor do her thing. How are you?
I am more than wonderful. So excited to be here. So grateful to be here. Thank you very much. Shout out to Dave Anderson. You keep coming up with ways to share your platform for people to learn. And this time and this space that we're in right now is just so important for us to really take advantage of what's going on. I understand people can't see my inbox. But man, if you could see my inbox over the past few weeks of this quarantine, people really understand right now that they haven't paid attention to LinkedIn in all this time. And now they feel that there really is the need for it, and they feel like they're left behind because they haven't been active on it. So I'm super excited to be here tonight for those folks who really just need some ideas for where to start, what's important, why is it important. So I want to be able to answer any questions on LinkedIn. I invite people to reach out to me, but tonight in this experience, this is such an asset for us to really take advantage of. And I'm just honored to be a part of it. So thank you very much for sharing your platform. For those who are new, haven't met me yet, this is my book. I am the author of the #1 best-selling Class is Now in Session, Your 21 LinkedIn Questions Answered. And you can advance there, Dave, especially for those who are just meeting me for the first time. You can see that I've done a few things in this space. Most people know me as the LinkedIn professor. My clients will tell you that the reason they hire me and the reason they work with me is because they wanted to, instead of being the ones looking for opportunities, they wanted to be sought after. So I'm the one that teaches people how to take their brand from the hunter to the hunted, and I absolutely enjoy what I do. I have the most amazing clients on the face of the earth, and I actually show off a couple of them tonight. You can advance here, but I am thrilled to answer this question in particular first, because this is one of the most common questions that I get from people. And it puzzles me still that I get this question so often, considering that LinkedIn has actually been around for a very long time. But when people ask me why should I care about LinkedIn? Why should I set time aside on my calendar every day for LinkedIn, which is something that I recommend you all do. Put a segment of time on your calendar every single day so that you log into LinkedIn, point and click around in the tool and just become present on this platform. And the reason that I encourage so many people to pay attention to this platform is not just because it changed my life. You know, I wasn't on LinkedIn at all until 2014. And the only reason I jumped on in 2014 is because I decided after having a panic attack at work that I was going to immediately go to the parking lot and call and start my short term disability so I could take some time off after having a panic attack at work. And during my short term disability, which was 90 days, I immersed myself in this platform. I read all the books I could get my hands on. I watched all the webinars I could get a hold of. I reached out to all the influencers in this space. I did all things learning LinkedIn. And in 2.5 months, within 2.5 months of getting on this platform, I went from Tawana Ross, the employee having panic attacks at work, to Tawana Ross. I just started a business because of the connections that I made on this platform after learning how to be strategic on it in 2.5 months. So, what I've seen since 2014, though, is that I'm watching some of my counterparts, other entrepreneurs who were spending massive amounts of time on these other platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. And I'm noticing that they're spending this massive amount of time on these platforms, yet they don't have the conversions that they're looking for. Conversions meaning you're spending this massive amount of time on these platforms and you're not seeing it turn into revenue in your bank account. That's how I describe conversions. But as you can see right here, LinkedIn crushes all of the other platforms from a conversion standpoint. And all this slide means is that if you simply get strategic in using this platform and spending time on this platform and standing out on this platform, the massive amounts of time that you would spend elsewhere can actually do something for your business by spending this time on LinkedIn. So I highly encourage people to just carve out time and get active on this platform. Find a way to stand out on this platform. What I noticed here, and we can move to the next slide, but what I noticed here, especially in working with the entrepreneurs that I work with, is so many people think of LinkedIn as the place to go to find a job. And I understand that because that's what they started out as being known for is an online resume tool. LinkedIn has evolved. Their features and functionality has evolved over the years. So now I encourage you to consider this platform to be a massive branding tool. And if you look at it as a massive branding tool, you start to see why clients of mine in particular that I'm just so proud of use this tool in a way to stand out in their niche market and get opportunities coming to them rather than them looking for these opportunities. So this is one of my clients here, and yes, he's a 13-year-old kid, but he teaches grown folks, adults, how to make millions by using the stock market. This kid here, 13 years old, as a result of building his brand and actually leveraging tools like LinkedIn, has gone from being a kid in school to speaking all over the world. And I just love what he's done here on LinkedIn. So I encourage you to not only look him up on LinkedIn, but send this guy a personalized connection request. And let me stress this one point, and then we can go to the next slide. Let me stress this point about personalized connection requests. You know, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're using it in any capacity, you know that people send you connection requests, and those connection requests, 9 times out of 10, are the default connection request. And by default, I mean it's the one that says, I would like to have you in my network, right? Let me just I'm going to go on record here and let's call that what it is. It's some bullshit that you want to get into our professional networks and into our business space and be seen as an authority, as a resource, as an affiliate. You want us to see you in high esteem, and you send us a basic connection request that you did not personalize in any way. I urge you that if you're going to use this tool and you want your brand to be respected, that when you send someone a connection request, you take 30 seconds, 30, 45, 60 seconds of your life to personalize that connection request, to let this person know why they should let you into their professional network. Okay, your professional network is to be guarded. This is a special place, so we don't let people in when they send us the default connection request. Therefore, when you send one to the truth, I want you to make sure that you take time out to drop him a line and let him know why you're sending him a connection request. Feel free to let him know that I sent you. Let's go on to one more slide so I can brag about one more client here. And hopefully, between these two visuals, people can really start to get their wheels turning around the difference between showing up on LinkedIn with the basic look and feel versus showing up here on this platform with a brand that stands out. So far, just in two visuals here, you should have seen enough content, enough of a visual, enough of a personality that you want to lean in and learn more about both of these individuals just because they took advantage of some real estate that we see as soon as we open their profiles. And within this small piece of real estate, both of them have conveyed a message that makes you interested in their brand because both of them have the opposite of the default look and feel of this tool. Okay, so I want you to already be thinking of how do you go from being the hunter to the hunted on this tool. And one of the ways you do that, and I'm going to show you four tonight that most likely you might need some help with. But one of the overall ways that you do that, is you show up like these two folks have with a brand that stands out. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I want to dig into these four metrics that are really critical in looking at your overall LinkedIn life. Okay, so if you want to know whether or not your approach is effective on this tool, whether or not you're using LinkedIn to the best of its capacity, this particular metric, and this is called your SSI, your social selling index. This particular metric measures four different pieces of your LinkedIn life. And between those four aspects of your LinkedIn life, you get a better idea of, first of all, whether or not your strategy is working, but also where you can tweak your strategy to increase your overall SSI. Okay, let's go to the next slide and dig into each of the four here. So there are four things that are measured in your social selling index. So let me just back up a second and make the point here. Your SSI, your social selling index, is the equivalent to what we used to call the clout score. You know, we used to care about something in social media called your clout score, and it would measure how effective you are on all the platforms. Well, this is LinkedIn's version of the clout score, and it looks at four different pieces of activity to determine how effectively you're using the platform overall. This first one I love to pieces because this one involves your brand. And as a branding coach, I can't help but get all giddy when I see that your brand is a main metric behind how effectively you're using LinkedIn. So, in order to increase this particular score, if you spend some more time being strategic on your profile with the content on your profile, making your content more relevant to the people who have the problems that you solve, then your professional brand on this tool will be seen more so as the authority, more so as a thought leader. You become more sought after than the one looking for the opportunities. So, just by paying attention to the language you use to establish your personal brand on your profile makes you stand out to the reader, but it also makes you stand out to the algorithm. And let's face it, this is an online tool. So the algorithm here is not your friend. And the more strategic you can be in tricking the algorithm into loving your presence, the better off your effectiveness will be here. So this first one is all about you and your brand and getting your message across to the people who need you. Let's look at that second metric on the next slide, though. Now, having the right content on your profile is one thing, but having the right eyeballs on you is another. Okay. So LinkedIn actually measures whether or not you're connected with the right people. I want to stress the right people. So this is not just people in general. You've seen people on this network who have super large networks, 10, 20, 30,000 people in their network. And you have to understand that with super huge networks like that, uh, these aren't necessarily relationships that are being formed and maintained. These are really just people who have congregated into a particular network. But that doesn't make them the right people. That's just a large number, but it doesn't mean they're the right people. The right people, though, are the people who actually need you for what it is you do. So the people who have the problems that you solve, the people who actually need what you do, those are the right people. If you own a business, everyone within your business ecosystem falls in this category of the right people. So if you're looking for investors, if you're looking for suppliers, if you're building your whole project management team, right? The people who you need in your ecosystem, in your network, those are the right people. You've all heard the phrase your network equals your net worth, right? You've heard that you are the average of the five closest people to you. So, knowing that and knowing that your professional network is that much more important, who you have in your network is of utmost importance and not just the numbers of people in your network. So I encourage my clients on a regular basis to use LinkedIn search tools and functionality to get to the people they need. As a matter of fact, earlier today, or this might have been last night, I've kind of lost track of time with this quarantine, but a client told me that they wanted to be on the show Good Morning America. So I had them immediately pull up LinkedIn. We went to the search field, we typed in uh, segment producer, Good Morning America. Now, this particular client had never thought of doing that particular search, but in knowing a little bit about how people get their brands noticed in the media, I realized that a segment producer is a very important person in the decision making lineup. Okay, the session, the segment producer is the one who makes decisions about who the guest will be. Okay. And the segment producer, in most cases, is not a famous name brand. So the segment producer is someone that if you did a search on LinkedIn for segment producer, Good Morning America, you're going to notice that there are segment producers listed that you can actually get to. Okay. So you can actually send messages that these people will actually see and actually respond to. So you've just shortened the path to get to Good Morning America just by using LinkedIn for what it is. It's a search functionality, it's a search tool. It's just like Google, only in this case, the information within it is geared towards our professional lives. Uh, but getting to the right people just by using LinkedIn's functionality not only gives you numbers of people in your network, but the right people in your network. Let's go to the next slide and check out the third metric here. Another one of my favorites, because this is where you differentiate yourself from everyone else that does what you do. This is also where we, the buying public, will vet you and determine whether or not you are all that you say you are. Okay. Because you can't fake the funk with your engagement strategy. So some people, I've seen this where they've got a pretty full profile, they've got some great content on their profile, but we see no activity whatsoever. There's no engagement whatsoever. So it's like the lights are on, but nobody's home. So they invested time and energy in building a profile, yet they never used the platform itself. Okay, that's a red flag. But it's also somewhere that you can stand out if you build engagement into your strategy. And the whole point here with engagement is for you to plop down on our timelines on a regular basis with valuable content, so much so that when we log into LinkedIn, we're looking forward to see your brand. We're looking forward to see your posts. We're emailing you. We're reaching out to you. Your brand is sticky with us. You're top of mind with us. We're reaching out to you with opportunities, all because you actually show up on the platform. Okay. So with this particular metric, the main point here is show up, use the tool, reach out to people, have conversations, but actually show up on the platform. That goes back to what I said at the beginning about setting time aside to just be in this tool every day, point and click around in it every day. Send messages to people, reply to messages, read articles, comment on those articles, but show up and actually engage on a regular basis because we use that as a way to vet your brand and whether or not you are who you say you are. All right, let's go to this last metric here. Now, LinkedIn is a networking site. Okay, networking, especially business networking, requires relationships. Okay. You already know that people have to know, like, and trust you before they buy from you. That means there has to be some sort of relationship established in order for people to actually latch on and follow your call to action, whatever that might be. Okay. Sometimes, though, on LinkedIn, and I'm sure you've seen this, sometimes you'll connect with an individual and they immediately send you a message that tells you all about their programs, all about their accolades, and a few hyperlinks for you to go buy their stuff. Okay, let me just call that what it is. That's some bullshit. That is a shoddy sales strategy. That is not a strategy. It does not work, and it really does not work on LinkedIn. And when you do that, we immediately think of your brand as less than. Okay, we immediately take you out of the running because we understand that you don't understand business relationships. You don't understand how this works. You think that you can send probably an automated message, one that you queued up in your system to automatically go out as soon as someone accepts your connection request, and you're immediately hitting us with buy my stuff. Okay, that does not work. It does not work. However, if you use this platform to actually strengthen your relationships with people by having conversations in the inbox, having conversations, joining the crowd in groups, taking those discussions offline, right? Actually have conversations with people on the phone, via conference call, face to face, but build the relationships because without the relationships, these folks out here who are buying, making buying decisions, cannot get to the point where they know, like, and trust you enough that they're going to hire your brand. It just doesn't work that way. Let's go on to the next slide. We've got a few more slides here, and then I want to take some questions on anything LinkedIn, including your SSI. I do want everyone to go straight to LinkedIn so you can find out what your SSI is, though. So the website for that is linkedin.com/sales/SSI. And when you get to that page, you're immediately going to see your measurement and the 4 metrics and where you fall in terms of your effectiveness on this tool. Okay. Now, if you get to this page and you see your SSI and you are not pleased with your current standing in terms of effectiveness, let's go to the next slide. Then I invite you to reach out to me so that we can actually drill down more specifically and looking at your presence on this platform and how you can increase those particular metrics to be even more effective on this tool. I believe there's one more slide here that I want to take questions. Yeah,
It
for
looks like we
those.
got a bunch of them.
Oh, good. For those folks who have their wheels turning and really want to get more, have a conversation, I do strongly encourage you to get some time on my calendar. I am a woman that lives by my calendar. My time is very important, but I set aside time for folks to be able to have access to me just so we can have conversations. We
Mhm.
don't even have to talk about LinkedIn per se. I just want to have time set aside to still be connected to you and have a conversation. So please do get on my calendar so we can have virtual coffee, especially in these days where we can't have coffee face to face. So virtual coffee it is. And that's a 30-minute conversation on my calendar at no charge to you. So I look forward to seeing you on my calendar and answering some more questions. But what do we have so far?
Okay. Well, I'm getting the first question because it's my damn conference. So I'm ashamed because I just talked to my entire leadership team and they're like, yeah, I should have. No, I know I need to be on LinkedIn. So I just went to that link you sent. This, hold on, let me go over here. This link right here. Hold on. Why can't I go up? Because the technology don't love me no more. Okay. No, not that one. That one. I went to that link, right? And on that link, it says that I am 54 out of 100.
Hmm.
Don't do that.
That
Right?
was nice. That was me being nice.
Yeah. But I see I've known you for years, so I know what that really means.
That means I can totally help you, and that means I get excited because you've expressed to me before about how LinkedIn it just hasn't been a priority. But I get excited when I hear things like this because this means that you realize the importance of it. You realize that it's a critical part of your strategy, and you've
Mhm.
got to be intentional about using it. So that means knowing you for many years, you're going to sit down and really put effort into how your brand appears on that platform.
Oh yeah, listen, this is the same for everybody. Everybody trying to learn. Here's the killer part, because this is the part that's not about me that I found very interesting. When you scroll down, it says that people in my industry, coaches, professional trainers, have an average SSI of 26.
Yeah. Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm double the national average.
Yeah. Well, I love how you look at that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And then it says people in
Yeah.
my network are 51 out of 100. So I'm still better than them. And
Yeah.
even with that, I still know that I suck.
Well, that means there's a time and place here for being intentional and doing something different to get different results.
Yes, I love that. So let's get
Mhm.
into some questions because I know they're in here. We got a bunch of them. So let's see here. Let's see. George said, I'm glad I jumped in on this before this madness. LinkedIn is an art. Most of us just don't have the brushes.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
check over here. Hold on, because I
I
saw.
like how he put that.
Yeah, no, it's really an amazing. It's an amazing tool once you understand what it is and how it works. So Questions
Was that
are,
George Dandridge by chance?
yes, it was George Dandridge,
Yeah,
who,
George
by
has
the
got
way,
away with words.
gotta love
Shout
it.
out to George.
He said, I don't have a paintbrush. Timex, The Last Dragon, 1986.
Ooh,
That's what that was.
wow.
Bars.
Wow.
Um,
Oh, that just took me back. I
yeah.
had that poster.
Mhm. Leslie said, "This is what and who I needed." Leslie's one of my clients. She's probably going to be in that group we talked about, doing that group
I
training.
appreciate you being here, Leslie.
So we're going to work that out, do something really special there. Um, George makes a great point. He says, oftentimes when I receive requests that are quote unquote personalized, I immediately feel the pitch.
Hmm.
So, what does an effective personalized um, request look like that doesn't feel pitchy?
Yeah, I love this question. And to actually talk through what this would look like, um, you got to keep in mind in the whole process of networking, the process of networking online is really the same process as networking in person. So when we go to a networking event in person, we meet someone, we exchange names, and we tell each other what we do for a living and that kind of thing. But we don't immediately go from introducing ourselves to selling a product. That's not what we do face to face in real life.
Mhm.
And it's really the same thing here. The whole purpose of your connection request and the whole purpose of personalizing the connection request is to get someone to actually add you to their network. And one of the best ways that you can do that is first by opening their profile and actually reading the content on their profile. Okay. Now, I do admit that the majority of people on LinkedIn don't give you quality content on their profile to go with.
Mhm.
Okay. So I do recognize that in some cases, you're really grasping at straws there. But in the event that someone has quality content on their profile that you found insightful for whatever reason, call attention to what it is that got your attention, right? So if you notice on someone's profile that they're the head of a particular organization that you're fond of and maybe have been following, then refer to that. Refer to something that you found on their profile. I personally like to take that a step further and find out what this person's mission is.
Mhm.
And again, usually you don't see that on someone's profile. But for the people that give you enough context, you can put the pieces together and really see what their mission might be. I love to speak to that person's mission and how I would love to be in their space just to witness what's going on, right? There's no sales there. It's just, I want to be in your network and be in your space. Now, time out there because that this is an approach that I haven't used in a very long time. And let me explain something real fast in talking about connection requests.
Mhm.
It's very important that people understand you've got a limited amount of connection requests, period. When you run out of sending these connection requests, you don't get any more. So my clients will let you know. I tell them all the time, don't send connection requests to people. I realize that when you do send them, you're going to take the time to personalize them. But we agree that you make a list of your biggest influencers in life. These are like maybe your top 10, top 20 people that you look
Mhm.
up to in life. Those are the people that you'll send a connection request to. John, Sally, Bob over here that you met at an event, you're not sending connection requests to these people. You're getting them to send you the connection request so that you can still be in their network, but you're holding on to your connection request. Okay. So again, top 10, 20 people that you look up to, sure, send them connection requests. Everybody else, make them send the request to you. Okay. And when someone is worthy of your connection request, your personalized language should really call attention to something important to that person so that they know you actually took time to read through their profile. You took time to find some way to actually align with this person. And it had nothing to do with the products and services that you're selling.
Hmm.
Great question.
That was a good question.
Mhm.
Damn, I felt like I just learned a lot in that one question. So let's see what other questions we have in here. Forgive me, I got to go back and forth. So let's see. I don't want to miss anybody here because there's a lot of places this is showing up.
I want to give a shout out to all my clients who have joined. I appreciate you all so much.
Yay, clients who have joined. Um,
Mhm.
what's the method to finding your client and or your needed connection past their title?
Great question. So, when you go past someone's title and you think about what's important to these people, what are some keywords that they want to be found by, or known for, and or paid for? Again, I want to use the example that I used earlier in a client wanting to be seen on Good Morning America, right? We did a search for segment producers, but in doing the search for segment producers, we looked through the profiles of certain segment producers that were going to be a direct path for this particular client. We
Mhm.
looked down in their skills section, the section where people endorse you for things.
Mhm.
Sometimes people ignore the skills section, they feel like it has no importance. But we looked at the skills section for about 3 or 4 segment producers so that we could see some of the key words that are important in their space.
Mm.
Right? We use those keywords and also some of their groups and other titles that were incorporated in their language that we saw over and over. We use those terms, those phrases, all of that language to then increase the list of people that my client needed to connect with.
Mm.
LinkedIn is like an excellent Hansel and Gretel scenario where you go look at one person in particular, but
Mm.
if you're using their service, using their features and functionality, that one person, that one profile that you pulled up is actually going to lead you to a whole list, a whole afternoon of searching through other people that you need to align with as well.
That is dope.
It really is.
So where okay, do you think hold on, I gotta pull this back up because I'm going back and forth. Do you think using any of those paid like LinkedIn things like Sales Navigator is important? If so, how do you maximize that monthly investment?
I love this question. Okay, let's break this down. What this question is about is essentially asking, should I have LinkedIn Premium? Okay, or should I have the free version of LinkedIn? Now, when you decide you want LinkedIn Premium, you've got a couple options there. You can have the premium version, the regular business premium version, or you could have Sales Navigator. And Sales Navigator, I'll tell you, with a background in sales, a background in business sales and training business sales, uh, uh, Sales Navigator is a beast. It is a beast of a CRM tool.
Mm.
Now, the folks who really use Sales Navigator are typically coming out of large organizations because they've got the budget for their people to have Sales Navigator. So it's not something that I typically recommend to my clients who are entrepreneurs when the premium version, the regular premium version of LinkedIn is more than sufficient. Now, going back to the original root of this question, though, should I have the free version of LinkedIn or should I have the paid version, the premium version of LinkedIn? I want to go on the record here for anyone who's never heard me say this before. You've got to understand that we make a decision about you. We make a buying decision about you when we pull you up on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has trained us all to look for the gold badge next to your name. When we see that little gold badge next to your name, we know that you have LinkedIn Premium. That means that you believe in making an investment in yourself. So automatically, you've given us a reason to say yes to you versus the person that has the free version. And in our mind, we see this person has the free version, and we immediately think to ourselves, well, if they're not willing to invest in themselves, why would they buy my product? Okay. We use this platform to make buying decisions. And whether or not you have the free version of LinkedIn or the premium version of LinkedIn says more about you than you probably understand. So, hands down, without a doubt, pay that $59.99 every month and get premium. Let me give you, I'm going to give you one main reason other than the fact that we use that as a buying decision. Let me give you one other reason and one way to get your $50, your $60 back every month. So I hear people talking about getting the premium version, and I hear all the time, oh, well, it costs $60. I got to pay $60 a month. That $60 that you're going to pay LinkedIn is going to get you one thing in particular. It's going to get you a shitload of other things. Don't get me wrong. There's a long list of things on the list for why you need premium, but there's one thing in particular that's going to make your money back and then some. Okay. It's the page on LinkedIn that shows you all the people who view your profile. Okay. So, if you go to your home page on LinkedIn, over on the left side of your home page, there's always a blue hyperlink that you can click to find all the people who have viewed your profile. And here, this one page is the reason I keep paying my $59.99 every single month. Because if you have the free version, you can only see 5 people on this page. You can only see 5 people. Now, earlier today, I had a client who told me that 240 people viewed her profile. Okay. Now, if you have the free version, those 240 people that viewed your profile, you would have had to sit there and refresh this one page all day, every day. You would just be sitting there refreshing the page all day, every day in order to see the 240 people who looked at you for whatever reason. Okay. Because with the free version, you could only see 5 people on this page. Whereas if you've got premium, you pay your $59.99 to LinkedIn every single month, and you go to this page, you've got 90 days worth of people who have viewed your profile. 90 days. Now, Tawana Ross, the LinkedIn professor, use this one page for prospecting because these are warm leads on this page. Okay. You can see how these people found you on this page. So for the people where it says found you via search, okay, my name is Tawana. That's not easy to spell. So if someone found me via search, that means they physically went to the search field and typed in Tawana correctly in order to find me. These people were serious about finding me. That is a warm lead. So when I reach out to them and I strike up a conversation, I encourage them to send me a personalized connection request and we build this relationship back and forth. At some point, I'm going to have virtual coffee with them. We're going to have a conversation. And in that conversation, I'm going to find out all of the problems that they have that I solve in my sleep. So within that conversation, we're going to decide to work together. And these folks who have gotten to that point where they've made a decision, they want to work with me, what they're investing in working with me pays for LinkedIn for several months. So that $59.99 is nothing. The return on investment is so phenomenal that I don't understand why anyone would be jumping to pay that $59.99 every single month so that we can see your brand in a better light. we see that you're willing to invest in yourself, and you see 90 days worth of warm leads.
Yeah, I just felt like a dumbass just now, right? Because I had that, and I'll see like such and such. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Wonder what the hell they want. And then going about, ooh, listen, you gotta be willing to know when you're trying to make your situation better, and you know what you know and you know what you don't. So
But now that you know, and now that you're being more intentional about
I'm
using this
coming through that bad boy
platform,
like, but listen, I'm coming through that bad boy like CJ Walker on a speed binge.
there you
Mm.
go. And now you can be more intentional about the folks who are already checking you out for a reason or whatever the reason.
Yeah, no, this is cool. Um, are you able when it comes to that? Are you able to make a single annual payment on that premium? You know if that's an
Uh,
option?
Great question. I believe you can make a single payment for the year, or it breaks down at 59.99 per month. Yes.
Absolutely. Here's another question. Should different divisions of your business or different services have different pages?
Love this question. Love this question. So let's distinguish something here. The question is asking about pages. Okay. So your business pages, kind of like in Facebook or other platforms, on LinkedIn, you've got your personal profile. That's the one that's tied to your name. But if you have a business page, it's tied specifically to your business. However, in order to have a business page in the first place, you've got to have an actual business email address. So, everyone walking around in business right now and their business email address is mybusiness at gmail.com. That's not going to cut it here. That's not going to work. You've actually got to have a business domain, a business email address in order to create a business page. But once you've created your business page, it's not necessarily to have multiple pages for the different services that you offer. They all can be aligned with the one business. However, on your personal profile, there is a need for you to paint the picture of the different hats that you wear under that umbrella. So if you've got multiple businesses, multiple lanes that you're in, you really make that point more so on your personal profile, so that your business pages can be related to the business as a whole, and you can break down the more specific products and services from your pages as well. But really, one page for the one business, regardless of how many products and services you have.
Hmm.
Great question. Great question. I can tell somebody's wheels were turning on that question.
Yeah, no, that was really, really a solid question.
Actually, let me add one other point there,
Sure.
because I think their wheels are turning. So there's also, again, we are the buying public that's checking you out on LinkedIn. So for the people who don't have a business email address, which means they couldn't set up a business page, we see that when we're on your personal profile. So when we're on your personal profile and we get down to the experience section where it says you're the CEO and owner of ABC Company, but ABC Company has that gray box next to it with that where there's supposed to be a logo. We know immediately because you don't have a logo there, that means you don't have a business page. And if you don't have a business page, it's probably because you don't really have a business, or you're using Gmail as your business email. So,
Ooh.
somewhere in that, in our thought process as the buying public, again, we are vetting you here. So, when we see that you don't have a logo for your business page, it equals you don't really have a business.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, I can't defend them on. Yeah, look,
It's as simple as getting a domain, an email domain.
see,
And
you know how I feel about that.
I
Like
mean,
I have a thing about advertising other businesses, That's not cutting me a check. I call it the dumb rapper syndrome.
Right.
I got into a fight with the Yin Yang Twins because they made a song called Grey Goose, and I called them morons.
Because why would they put more spotlight on them?
Right, because they got their money.
Right? Gmail, Google, they're all right.
Right. My blowing up business. I'm booked and busy at gmail.com. Girl, and
Exactly. Exactly.
now here's a question. Are there certain businesses that don't have an audience on LinkedIn? I'll give you an example, right? Um, say you make dog treats, or say you have a children's book. You know, a lot of people, because of the perception that LinkedIn has that it's kind of like, do those people need to have a LinkedIn profile, and can they get more business speaking engagements, things of that nature, from utilizing
Absolutely.
LinkedIn if it's not a linear and traditional or popular path?
Absolutely. In fact, because this is the place where business people go to congregate and network with each other, it really doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. It's still a place to network for the purpose of doing business. The examples that you gave, I have those clients. One of my clients has a dog. What do you call it? Foster care for dogs. I've got actually a few clients who have children's books. They're still in business. They still have brands. They still need to be seen by the buying public. So yes, this is a place for them. My two, what are they called? The politically correct term, my two pole dancers, my exotic dancer clients.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say my two strippers. When you do a search on LinkedIn, I bet you George is doing the search right now. Somebody go do this search on LinkedIn right now for pole dancers. Do a search over there for exotic dancers. Do a search over there for strippers. You will see there is a place for everybody. This is home for anyone who is in business who wants to network with other business people.
Hmm.
Yes, I do have two exotic dancer clients.
Listen. I am not here to.
Who am I to judge, right?
I'm not here to judge Cinnabons and Twerkles the Wonder Thought. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Who
not.
am I to judge? But I will say that ever since both of them have become intentional about LinkedIn, not only have they increased their visibility for what it is they do, but both of them have completely expanded their networks into other aspects of building wealth in their families and leaving a legacy so that it's not just dancing anymore.
Hmm, that is important.
It is.
All right, so here's a question for you. When you look on where it says who's viewed your profile, right? And you said you can see how they found you. That's only on the computer. You can't see it on mobile. Is that it?
You can see that on mobile as well. It doesn't show up for every single person though.
No.
So it's hit or miss in that out of five people, it might show you the caption for three of them. It's not all five that'll show that caption, but it's certainly enough of them that you can piece together who found you and how.
Mhm. So if it says somebody found you via homepage, what does that mean?
It means that they were scrolling on their timeline, minding their own business, looking at their timeline, and something on their timeline had you in it, whether it was a post that you shared, maybe it was a post that one of their connections commented on, so it shows up in their timeline, but specifically on their homepage. So they didn't go search for you, they didn't find you in a group, they weren't strategically looking for you. They just happened to find you on that homepage as they were scrolling on their timeline.
Hmm, interesting.
Mhm.
Oh, I got people in Congress looking for me. It's crazy. Like, yeah, so like I think we need to pay a lot more attention. Um,
Mhm.
who is the person that needs to do LinkedIn right now, given this environment that we're in?
All of us, because here's the thing, whether you're comfortable right now or not, we have a very short amount of time in which everything has changed and everything is continuing to change. And as we've all heard, people are losing their jobs left and right, which means that at some point in the near future, either people are going to go back to work, or people are still going to be out of work looking for opportunities. And so this crisis that everyone's talking about and how this will be, the next depression and whatnot, you've got to understand that with this kind of mass unemployment, that people are looking for their next opportunities. Where are they looking for these opportunities? All over the place. But where do people go when they want to vet you as a professional and find out what your brand is all about and whether or not they should hire you, buy from you, collaborate with you, invest in you? They go to LinkedIn for that. And without a presence on this platform, without standing out on this platform, without having a brand that clearly articulates value, you can pretty much hang it up in this climate because there's so much competition right now and everybody does the same thing. So, what makes you different? What makes you unique? And who said so? Is it just you that says so? Or can we log into LinkedIn and see clearly that other people find you to be a thought leader? Other people find you to be the authority. Other people find you to have valuable content on a regular basis. If that's not clear on LinkedIn, you're going to have a very hard time in this climate over the next several months in either getting another job, growing your business, finding an investor, finding people who will take you seriously in business on any level.
Hmm, damn.
I know, right? That's why I think, and I mentioned this earlier, but that's why I believe that my inbox right now looks the way it does.
Oh, it's on
Because
fire. I already
people,
know.
yeah, because people really understand that right now is not the time to take your foot off the gas. We all got to sit home all day for several weeks on end. Nobody is seeing you. You have the option, the opportunity right here, right now to be doing something different to get to the next level. And if you're strategic, I keep mentioning this, but if you're strategically putting time aside on a regular basis to show up on LinkedIn, just showing up is going to completely change how we see your brand. We'll begin to take you seriously when we see you in our timelines on a regular basis, sharing valuable content. Now, conversely, we will question your authority and everything with it when you show up on our timeline and it's just stupid shit that nobody cares about, and you got memes that make no sense and belong on Facebook. That's different. But
Mm,
for the people who are strategically showing up on LinkedIn with the goal of connecting with other professionals and building relationships in business, those people are finding that right now is the time to stand out on this platform because it's very competitive as it is, but it's about to get even more competitive in the landscape that we're facing.
okay, question. There's a different energy when it comes to LinkedIn,
Mhm.
right? And like for me, for example, for shits and gigs, um, I have a lot of very interesting video content, right? What are the rules? Like, what should you put on LinkedIn? What shouldn't you put on LinkedIn? What does that need to look like when it comes to, content, especially like videos and things of that nature? And then there's the live feature. Like, what makes sense and what doesn't?
Wonderful question, because so many people get caught here with how do I show up. And
Mhm.
disclaimer here, I may be slightly biased in that, I'm a branding coach. So I look at the world through the goggles of branding. So my answer to this question is what makes you truly stand out on this platform is when you are in complete alignment with who you are at your core. It's the real you that shows up here, not the filtered version. This is the place for you to put all your cards on the table. You saw in the examples that I used earlier of a couple of my clients. The one client, Miss Stacy Pierce, she puts all her cards on the table right there in her headline, and doesn't have any problem with how she worded it. She's not going to stop to think twice about whether or not someone is offended by her headline, right? So you've got to be the real you, show up as the real you, oozing personality the way that we would see if we engage with you on any other platform. It's so very critical to make sure that your brand is in complete alignment with who you really are at your core, because we can read right through all the fakery on this platform, which is another reason why I encourage people not to use the automated tools here on LinkedIn, where it schedules your posts, schedules all your content, whatnot. I encourage people not to use those tools here, because we can tell that you do that. We can tell that you scheduled that post for a certain time every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, versus you jumping on naturally when there's a discussion that requires your expertise. That's a completely different way of us looking at you. But really, this I can't say it enough. This is the time now to really be aware of your brand message, how you're putting yourself out there, but do put yourself out there right now on this platform so that we see the real you, not the filtered version.
Okay, so these questions are pouring in, and we got a little less than 20 minutes, so I'm just going to try and get through them as quickly as possible. Hold on. See, this one was good too, and I know you're going to tear this one a whole new asshole. It was, does demographic matter because I'm having a difficult time?
Uh, does demographic matter?
I think
Mean,
she's saying
are
is
they
that
asking the demographic that they're looking for?
yeah, I don't know if it's the demographic that she's looking for, or she's saying because I'm a black woman. I don't know. Liz, can you give me some specifics of what exactly you're asking so that we can figure out what that means?
Yeah, more context there would definitely help.
Right. Um, folks is in here taking copious notes. Hold on, let me go grab this other, because there's a bunch of other questions, because this is in several different groups. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Let's see. Um, is there a barrier to or limit you should monitor with sharing others' content?
Oh, great question. So, uh, first off, I encourage people who do intend to engage on this platform, especially if sharing content is part of your engagement. I encourage people to create a content calendar first. Okay. And on your content calendar, that you're identifying the categories of engagement that you plan on having. So if you plan on sharing content, right, you're curating content that someone else created, but you found it to be insightful, and now you want to share it on LinkedIn. That's great. There's no problem with that. Pick a day in particular, or for those of you that are more active and you engage on a regular basis, for you that would be pick a time of the day, but pick a window in particular in which you'll always curate, or always share someone else's content, right? So for a beginner, as an example, I might encourage a beginner to put Monday, Wednesday, Friday on their content calendar, okay, as an example. And then maybe Fridays are the day that they share someone else's content.
Hmm.
Right. So every Friday that they found some content during the week that they found was valuable. Maybe it was from their favorite influencer. Maybe it was content having to deal with the current times. Whatever it is, it's something valuable that curated content, that shared content we see from that beginner every Friday. Okay, because that gives a beginner some rhythm to grow into, meaning you've got a particular rhythm for how your brand shows up on this platform. It's not going to be the same thing all the time. There's a particular flow that you're going to fall into. So, in looking at how to build your flow, starting with a content calendar, you can put curating and sharing content on a particular day or a particular time if you're more active. And then you've got your Mondays and Wednesdays for some other category, right? So maybe on Mondays, you start off the week with some sort of inspiring meme. Then maybe on Wednesdays, you're asking people to read one of your articles, right? So you've got a different category for how you're showing up each time you show up so that you can begin to be intentional and find your rhythm. Great question.
All right, so real quick, this was a good one. I'm waiting for her to get back to me, so I gotta get back over there. Okay. How often and how deep should you go on the posts?
I think I hear two things in that question. So let me just throw a couple things out and clarify here. I heard posts there. How deep should you go on a post? And a post probably isn't going to go very deep, generally speaking. However, if you feel the need to go deep, meaning whatever subject matter you're covering requires more of your thought, more of your context, more explanation, where it is going to go deep, then that's not a post anymore. That's most likely going to be an article that you publish on LinkedIn. Okay. So there's a post, which is the short version. It's what you see at the top of your home page where you can attach a picture, a meme, or whatnot. That's a post, which is going to be pretty short in nature, usually. And then there is an actual article, kind of like a blog post, where you go into depth. You expound on the subject matter. You've got graphics. There's something different about your articles, but I encourage you to do more of those if and when you intend to be seen as a thought leader or as an authority on this platform. Authority equals articles. Okay, remember that. Because if you're simply posting content on LinkedIn, whether that's sharing your own post or sharing someone else's post, if all you're doing is posting and or liking and commenting here and there, you're establishing yourself as a follower. Okay, you are not establishing yourself as an influencer with that as your strategy. The influencers on this platform are people who have content that they have published here on this platform. Okay, it's the people who are following them who come along and like and comment and share, but it's the influencers, the thought leaders, the real folks that everyone else is following. Those are the people who actually publish content here and go beyond just the posts.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Got to get back over to here. This is a lot easier when I have other people doing it for me. Let's see.
Shout out to the team, man. The
Yo, let me tell you
team.
something. Look, Team Bully, man, my leadership team is dope. She says, yes, I'm a black woman trying to promote myself from in a predominantly Caucasian area. I'm finding that people don't want to pay what the product and service is worth. I'm a baker, caterer, and personal chef.
So I hear a couple of things in that. Number one, uh, we have access to the World Wide Web in our pocket. Okay. So the fact that you're a Black woman and in a particular area, the people that you're selling to are in a particular area. So what you're in a particular area, this is the internet. Okay. Your territory is the globe. Okay. Now, if people are not responding to you and or buying your products and services, that has nothing to do with you and your demographic. That has everything to do with the fact that they don't see the value in what you're communicating. They don't see that the problems they have, you solve. Right? They don't see that there is value behind what you do. So there's something in your message. There's something in your whole brand message that's missing. There's something in how you connect your gifts, your talents with the problems that they have. Right? So something in the message. You could sell to any demographic you want on LinkedIn, but the message is what's going to compel somebody to whip out their credit cards. Let me give you a name here for someone to go look up on LinkedIn and or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. But when it comes to sales language, sales copy, not just regular copy, but the kind of copy that will make somebody smack the buy button. That's actually her tagline. So shout outs to April Beverly, Miss April
April Mother
Beverly.
Beverly.
Right, Miss April, and that's April spelled with a Y. Go check her out. Send her personalized request on LinkedIn. But you want to see sales copy that's going to make someone follow your call to action and give you their credit card. You're going to need Miss April somewhere in that process. But what you described is not a problem with the demographic at all. That's more in line with the message that you're delivering.
Hmm. Okay, hold on. Let's get this done. I think we got time for one more question before we bring in Derek Grace. But you know what I'd like to do? I would like really quickly make sure I don't miss anything here. Ain't not there. That looks good. Let's check over here on the con. Want to make sure I didn't miss anything here either. Got that. Got that. How does maximizing LinkedIn transition to other platforms? Then let's wrap up and we'll go from there.
How does LinkedIn do what?
How does maximizing LinkedIn transition or translate into other platforms?
Mm. You know that all depends on someone's ability to repurpose content. However, uh, your presence and your visibility on LinkedIn can really increase and enhance what you're doing on other platforms. In that, if you really are a thought leader and an authority on LinkedIn, that means you've got some hyperlinks that you can direct people to that put them in front of you, or the other way around, actually, but on LinkedIn. Okay, so if you're publishing content over there, if you're managing groups over there, if you're seen as a thought leader over there, you now have hyperlinks that you can invite people to on other platforms. You can go on Facebook and see your tribe on Facebook and say, hey, everybody, I just published this article today on LinkedIn. Go check it out. Right? That encourages people to go see your content over there, but also engage with you over there and see your brand in a professional light. Vice versa, though, if you've got content that you generated on another platform where maybe the heart of your tribe is, so if Instagram is your thing and that's where your people are, that's where your whole community is, use the hyperlinks that you've got from IG and your presence over there and bring that over to LinkedIn and invite people on LinkedIn to engage with your brand. on these other platforms. But again, I say this all depends on someone's ability to repurpose content, because that's really all that you're doing here is taking your brand presence in all of these spaces and making sure that you're seen on all of these platforms that someone else may be on.
Word.
Mhm.
All right. So, um, again, let me get out of this and say it's absolutely phenomenal to have you here. I think you guys are going to get so much value out of this. Hopefully, you're actually in the group so you can get access to replay. And I'm excited, man, for what we got coming up. I'm thankful to you as always. I love you to death. My family loves you. My wife thinks you're awesome. Um, let people know one more time how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, folks, get a hold of me. I strongly encourage you to get on my calendar for virtual coffee. I also encourage those of you that are into books, especially right now when your ass is at home and you have nothing else to do but read a book. Pick this book up, because I guarantee you there are questions in this book that you might not have thought to ask tonight. Uh, but for sure, there are questions that are important in terms of you building your presence on this platform. But by all means, shoot me a text message or call me at area code 331-222-9540. And again, that's 331-222-9540. For those of you who are into email, you can shoot me an email directly at Tawana at getoveryourselfcoaching.com. That's Tawana at getoveryourselfcoaching.com. I'll see your text message or see your phone call before anything else. So for those of you that need a quick response, you're better off shooting me a text or calling me directly. But I look forward to speaking with you. I want you all to take advantage of this quarantine. This is a point in time where people are looking for alternatives. They're looking for a way to set themselves up and be positioned differently as we come out of this. And LinkedIn, whether you've been using this tool up to this point or not, LinkedIn is a main part of, or should be a main part of, your overall strategy to come out of this coronavirus thing on the side where you're pleased with where your brand sits and your bank account reflects that. So I encourage you to reach out to me with your questions related to LinkedIn or building your brand in general. And I look forward to having those conversations with you. I am the LinkedIn professor. I am completely grateful for you, Dave Anderson, and sharing your platform with me once again. I'm always here for the cause, and appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you. Thank you so very much. And we'll see you soon. Derek Grace is coming up just in like 1 minute.